You know, if you like movies about monsters and magic and sorcery and general weird, strange creatures and so forth, and who doesn't, if you like that kind of movie, if you've never seen The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad from 1958, you really should look for that one and find it and watch it, because it's a great movie, The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. And one of the things that that movie gave us was the classic, now classic, design for the character of the Cyclops, as envisioned by Ray Harryhausen back in the day, and as brought to life as this mask much later by Death Studios and sculpted by the legendary John Smith, one of the finest mask sculptors ever to sculpt masks, in fact. John Smith. Now, 1996, this thing came out. It was a licensed edition. It was a licensed, and how do we know? Well, it says right here on the back. I'll just tell you what it says. Okay, this is like a novella. You didn't have anywhere to be, did you? This could take a while. It says here, copyright 1958, renewed 1996, I believe. Columbia Pictures Industries, Inc., all rights reserved. Creatures conceived by Ray Harryhausen. Charles H. for a Charles H. Schneer production, all rights reserved. It says that twice. And then below that it says Death Studios Masks copy number, and then there's a little number on there, and this one says 002. So this is copy number 2. How many did they make? Well, I'm glad you asked. I don't know. They had started out with the intention of making 500 of this wearable mask version, and I'll take it off the very expensive mask collector coleslaw bucket from the local deli here, so you can see it is indeed a wearable mask, and it has little vision slits trimmed out on either side of the Cyclops' big, shiny, scary eye. Okay, so you could see out of it. It also has a little bit trimmed out in the nostrils, and it even has a series of little cuts in the roof of the mouth area here for you to breathe out of. So this wouldn't be that bad a mask to wear, you know? Nice and big, huge in fact. I don't know if you can tell how big this thing is. It's much larger than the earlier Don Post version of the same character, the Sinbad, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad Cyclops. Now the Don Post one didn't also, in addition to being smaller, it also didn't include as much mask. It just stopped at the neck. It didn't have this bib area here, and the early copies of it even had hair, light brown hair on the back. But the Death Studios edition, which they meant to make 500 of, did not have hair and always looked pretty much like this. Now, in addition to the wearable mask version, it was also released as a collector bust edition at the same time. There were supposed to be 500 of the wearable masks, as I have previously divulged, and 100 copies of the bust, which was the same sculpture, the primary differences being it was foam-filled solid, making it a lot more difficult to wear. Yeah, it was foam-filled, and it had an acrylic eye, whereas the mask just has a painted-on eye. However, Jeff Death painted these things, and he does such a magnificent job of painting eyes that it's almost as good to have a Jeff Death painted eye as it is to have an acrylic eye, because he does such good job with the eyes. You hear me? You hear me talking? Sure you do. Now the Cyclops here, for whatever reason, was not embraced by the mask collecting community to the extent that it deserved to be, or that anybody expected it to be. So Death Studios never ended up making a full run of 100 of the bust version and 500 of the mask version. They never made that many. The contract eventually, you know, was for a limited time. Eventually the time on the contract expired and the mask was discontinued. I imagine you could still find someone somewhere on eBay or something, although now that I think about it, I don't think I have ever seen one offered for sale second hand or second eyeball or any such thing. But what a great mask. I do recommend it. Again, it's a collaborative effort between Jeff Death and John Smith, two of the most legendary heroes of the mask making world. And well, the only downside is that you have to provide your own coleslaw bucket to display it on.